let's just get started.
Yep.
So, last week, we kind of talked about the importance of brand. Everybody kind of introduced themselves. I thought it was a great exercise. And the reason why I thought it was a great exercise, it really kind of shared with you all, like kind of where you are in the process of your business. And as this market is going and shifting and changing into new areas, that we haven't seen before in a while, it's super important. I don't know, for those of you that didn't listen to the 6 a.m.ers this morning, but everything is super timely. And one of the concepts that the gal brought up today on the 6 a.m.ers, if you were able to listen to it, was, the power and importance of getting back to basics that sometimes when we're busy, we don't do, right? When we're super busy, we're not focused on, what we have to do or the fundamentals, but real estate always is about the fundamentals, doing the right things at the right time. And again, just so timely. Every once in a while, I listen to these like little mini podcasts. And the one today was when you talk to yourself and your self-talk, right? And like, do I want to get up and work out in the morning? Like, it was really weird. Like, my body got up at 4 o'clock this morning. It wanted to work out. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Most of the time, I don't want to work out. And the funny part is, if I ask myself, do I want to do this? The answer is no, right? But what I want to add, and this is what this whole thing was about, is asking your future self what you want. And I thought, like, wow, that's so powerful, right? If I want to be in the same place in the next 5 years, right? Because this is what we were talking about with Chirag. In 5 years, do I do the same things that I'm doing right now? The answer is absolutely not. I have to ask my future self, right? Like, where do I want to be in my 5-year plan? What do I want to be? And let's ask that person, do they want to work out? Because the answer is going to be yes. When I ask my future self, is this what I want to do to my business? Is this the fundamentals that I want to take in my business so that in 5 years from now, I am exactly where I want to be? The answer is yes. If you want to end up exactly where you are, ask yourself the question. If you want to be someplace different, ask your future self where you want to be and if you should be doing this right now. And I loved that. So I hope that inspires you guys. And what inspired me is walking through your brands. I noticed that we got to get back to basics. And we really, a lot of you are just needing help in this branding arena, because a lot of the answers were like, hey, I'm a great negotiator. I'm really passionate about helping my clients. That's not it. And you're missing it. And that's okay. And again, I don't care that you're missing it now. I just don't want you to miss it in your 5-year self. So that's what Sydney and I are going to talk to you about today, is really how to help you for your 5-year self. And so without further ado, I will let Sydney start taking it away.
Okay, so yeah, piggybacking off that, this is going to be a 4 to 5 part series. So for the next 4 to 5 weeks, we are going to be talking about this. A brand key is basically like the cornerstone of what you should do, like base everything off of, the yardstick that everything that you do is measured off of. And so at the end of this 4 to 5 week program of the branding, you should hopefully feel very confident about what your brand truly is. And like Butch said, good negotiator is not it. I have initiative. That's not it. Honesty, not it. Good communicator, not it. That is what every single agent does. That is not your differentiators. And so we're hopefully going to come up with that together. So this is part 1. So today it's going to be an intro to like why understanding the core basics of your brand is so necessary for powerful marketing. And then we're going to talk about audience. So let's get into it. Butch, do you want to go through this exercise?
I would love to, Sydney. So chips, right? Like when we talk about potato chips, right? Like, why does Frito-Lay have all these different brands, and what do they all mean, right? And I think that this always helped me in when I thought of brands. I was like, how can I be everything to everybody. And we get a lot of agents that are like, hey, I want to be everything to everybody. No, you don't. You really don't.
So let's take a step back here. Every single brand that you see in this photo, which is probably more than 10 different type of chips, is all owned by the same company. So why do you think that they do that? What is the purpose of them doing that? If they thought, like a regular agent thinks, they would just have one chip. Because I'm the chip for everyone. But they understand the importance of understanding audience and really using that to their advantage. And so they have multiple different brands targeting different audiences.
And it's really hyper specific, right? And it's not to say, and this is the funniest part, right? Like guys 35 to 45 really like barbecue flavored chips. Now, that's targeting a certain demographic. I mean, it's salt and vinegar. It's like they're all, and it's funny because when Cindy talks about the different chips, like you'll notice like, ooh, that's right, that is the one I like. But it doesn't mean every once in a while I don't have Fritos or I don't go after Lay's regular chips, right? But for the most part, they're targeting a specific demographic. It doesn't mean that when you go to the store, you might want something different, you try a different chip. But again, the branding really is set to be really specific.
Exactly. So that's what we would like to set up for you guys. Again, as a reminder, they are doing their marketing and their branding incredibly successfully because they are not scared of, oh, well, we're not marketing to everyone. Like the Doritos commercials are targeted towards like high school boys. That means that the woman in her 40s are never going to have one. Like they're not scared of that. They are actually targeting a small group of people that they'll get 100% of, which is bigger than trying to target everyone that you'll get 1% of, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. This is a brand key. Every strong brand is comprised of 4 key elements, or comprised, sorry. Together, they form a brand key, which becomes your marketing's North Star. Without this, it's really hard to deliver the kind of consistency that you need to build a brand. So, audience is the first piece of this pie that we are going to tackle. Next week, we'll do values. The following week, we will do style. And then the final week, we will do essence. And that is how we will all build out your guys' brand keys together. Most successful brands today go far beyond their products. So when you think of Coca-Cola and how they market themselves and how they brand themselves, what are they selling? They're not selling Coke. They're not selling a soda. They're selling happiness and bubbles and summer. When you think of Volvo, they're selling safety. Disney sells magic, right? Butch.
Oh yeah, I just want to share, like, you'll notice in no ad you will ever see, ever, will you see Volvo talk about safety. They will never say the word safety. But if I polled all 16 people here, when I say Volvo, what do you think? And you would say unequivocally safety, 100%. Yet, did you know they never mention the word? What they do is they show the car completely crushed, right? And then the survivors. Like every step of their branding is about that one word. And again, that's what we really want to promote. And again, it doesn't mean like, hey, I want to drive a luxury car. I'm not going to go with Volvo. I drive a Volvo. It's a luxury car, but it's also safe.
And that's the same way in thinking, right? Let's say you think that your brand is, I'm a good communicator. Like you shouldn't say like Butch Haze, good communicator. You know what I mean? Like that's not how your marketing should read. So find your emotional journey of your client. Know their pain points. This is incredibly important. What is your client scared of? What are they questioning? What answers are you solving for them? And think about how you want someone to feel when they interact with you and your business. In the end, this is like Upgrade copy, but in the end, our job at Upgrade is to find unique ways to amplify your brand key in the most strategic way possible. So we'll put your brand voice, your values, your strengths in front of the right people that you'll ultimately create meaningful, lasting connections with your audience. And that is the most important thing, lasting connections. I'm constantly having this conversation of, oh yeah, I can spend a few $1,000s in branding, or I can spend a few $1,000s on Zillow and get 2 leads. It's like, okay, cool. But those people are most of the time probably not going to work with you at the end of the day because they're like cold leads. And then they're not loyal to your brand because they don't know you, they don't trust you, and they don't care about you. Wouldn't you rather spend the same amount of money? Granted, yes, it takes longer. It definitely takes longer, but you're building a brand and a client base that is trusting and like values you and appreciates what you do, and they end up having this unforgettable experience with an agent that they feel they're so connected to. And what do they end up doing? Not only following through with the transaction with you, but ending up like referring you to their friends and family.
And that's really the essence of all this is, remember, marketing is one of those things, if you do it well, and we can give you all, and what I thought everybody really enjoyed is talking to one another in this group. Like, I really want this to be a tight-knit group where you guys all get to know each other and work with each other. Like, we're going to have you guys get together in little pods and help with your brand. But it really starts with understanding the concept, because what I got out of last week was we need help in this area. And we're just not super understanding of what actually having a brand is. And one of the examples that we were going to talk about is our fearless leader, who probably has one of the greatest brands of all time. And you don't even
in the real
know,
estate space.
In the real estate space, right? Like, he has done it so well, and that's Leonard Steinberg. And Leonard has created a brand, an essence, an audience. And again, it might not be you, but you respect it, right? Like he might not be talking to me, but I respect his brand, and I know exactly who he is and what he's great at, and if I was to ever have a client, I know exactly the client I would send him. And think about that, not only for your audience that you're working at, but you also work at Compass, right? You have this incredible, probably the greatest referral network of any real estate company in the world that you have right at your fingertips here at Compass. How can you use your brand to engage in that referral network? And again, remember, marketing is happening 24 hours a day. Coca-Cola isn't trying to get you to rush out and buy Coke. It's just when you're thirsty and you're looking at a bunch of drinks, you go, oh man, I want to be happy. I had a tough day. I wish I was happy. I'm going to drink a Coke. It should make me happy. And it's weird. It does. It makes you happy.
So a great example of what Butch said is the Compass referral network. If your brand is not memorable, and it won't be if you're saying that your value add is like good communication and great networker, then no one will think of you to refer you, right? Same as your audience. They're not going to think of you. They're always going to think of the person that's known for something. Oh, they're super, I don't know. Well, let's go through Leonard Steinberg, and you guys will, I think his is a great example because it's like so over the top. So we're going to do a quick case study. So as far as Leonard Steinberg goes, you guys all know him. He is very out there with his style, with the way he talks, the type of listings he has. Everything is all very, very cohesive when it comes to his brand. So I'm going to go through his content pillars, which we'll talk about what that is in another day. But basically, every single thing that he ever puts out falls under one of these pillars, which means he has a very consistent and cohesive brand across all channels. Obviously, first and foremost are listings and real estate, right? But when you look at the way he showcases the properties, it's a little bit different than the way that most people showcase properties. And I'm going to go through this very fast because we don't have that much time. But for example, these angles of a property, most of the time, most agents always choose the photo that makes the property look the biggest. This corner wide lens shot, this fisheye shot. But in reality, that's not really doing anything for the person who's consuming that content. Here, what you see is this obviously has views, and it shows architectural elements here with views. There's a G-Wagon out front, right? Very on brand, over the top. just same as Leonard. Here again, views with a big piece of art. But then when you look at the way he writes, 11th closing of June 2019. Congratulations, team. The second quarter of 2019 is one of the busiest in my 23-year career. He's proving right here is basically saying, look at how many transactions I've done without doing this whole post, number one this, top 1%, like most agents do. He's subtly saying, I've been doing this for 23 years and we've closed 11 properties in just June. Here, this is just one of the terraces of the penthouse at 497 Greenwich Street. Moments from the new Google campus in Hudson Square, Tribeca, and the Hudson River Park. Huge views, move-in condition, dorm and pool, gym, guest suite, 3 bedrooms, blah, 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 ... 10 million. Here, he's talking about what he knows in the neighborhood. He's very well versed in what's going on around town. But you want to say something?
Yeah, and notice like he's adding in his comments very specific, right? Like he's tagging Google, right? Like so that people from Google will see if they're in a group like, oh, wow, look at this. This is a place close to my work. He's showing like, this is why this place is so elevated. Like this is the resources that it has around it. He's also telling you without telling you, I only do luxury real estate. Right? Like here, doesn't mean he can't sell $1 million condo, but hey, if I'm an agent in San Francisco and I get a call from a client that's a super luxury, super buttoned up person, who am I going to refer him to? I'm going to think Leonard, right? Like this guy would be great for Leonard, right? Like he's super polished, right? Like you never see any pictures of Leonard disheveled, right?
Right. We'll go into style, but before we get there, let's talk about some of his other content pillars here, travel. And I think this is a huge pillar that sometimes people aren't understanding of, but here we go. A terrace with a view is a good thing. Hashtag La Dolce Vita. Winter in California, beach club or yacht. So many choices. Again, for him, this really works because he's showing, look at the places that he's going to, right? Like these are he's not on some crowded beach with everyone in their sand castles and their towels. Like he's on some private, wherever he is, at some huge house or at some private beach club. And what does this tell people that are consuming this media? It tells them that he lives the same life as his clients. His clients live this life. And so that they feel like he can relate to them and that he understands them and he understands what they care about because he cares about it too. And he knows all the hot spots, just like they would want, right? Not only does he know the hot spots in New York City, which is what he explained to us in the previous slide, but he also knows the hot spots in Italy, in California, in France. And that's exactly the type of person that they want to know.
I also think, Sydney, it's really important to go back to that slide. Like one of the other things that's going to happen is a client could see like, wow, where is that picture from? Where is that beach club, Leonard? So he gets calls from clients or people saying, hey, I saw this on Instagram. Tell me more about it. I do the same thing. I always am posting like my kids and our adventures so that people with families call me and say, Butch, that looked cool what you just did. I try and really, Sydney helps me do this a lot, is like, how do I curate a family vibe, right? Like, wow, that was in California. You didn't have to get on a plane. Where was that? I love those questions because I'm saying top of mind. I can use my vacations as a work excuse to kind of bring business in or stay top of mind.
And I think it's a great point because after doing this for so many years, like I recognize that agents are very nervous about posting their travels. It's so funny. You guys are all so similar in that way. Like you never want to post that you travel because you're scared that your clients are going to be like upset that you were gone or something. Right. But you can use it in a positive way, like flip it, and see it from another perspective that you're relating to your audience. And Leonard in this case is showing that he is in the know. That's what he's showing, right? Not only in New York, but also just when it comes to traveling in general. Let's go through to his lifestyle. So again, as you can see here, he's dressed up, he's in a pink suit. He is showcasing that he goes out to galleries, etc. So let's read through some of these captions up here at the top. Hanging out with Jackie O. Tags the building. Tonight's soiree. Look, who says soiree, right? Like, he's just like over the top. To launch the completed full floor finished model apartment is in full swing. The sun came out just in time. Or here, sometimes simplicity is the easiest way. Just love our house on the lake. The perfect escape 1 hour from Manhattan. What is this doing? What is this doing? This is saying, I have a second home outside of New York. You should too, because it's only 1 hour from Manhattan. I can help you. Here's how beautiful it is. I live this life and you should too. Here. Is this the most chic room in all of New York? Possibly so. Tags the designer, tags the building. Who wouldn't want direct access to the only tags Michelin Guide star restaurant on Lexington? Not only is he communicating with the business owners that are all involved, or the vendors, he's tagging local restaurants, and he's like divine. Again, who says that? He's just like over the top, and it's memorable. What a wonderful night and event with the legendary, whatever, prize winner architect visiting us from Portugal, tags the building. Again, tagging the building, tagging architects, and then at the end, he's tagging, oh, it's close to SoulCycle, it's close to this restaurant, it's close to this supermarket, it's close to this schools. He's constantly doing that, even in his lifestyle stuff. What is he telling us? He's telling us that he is in the know. And then last but not least, there's a lot of content about market dynamics and conditions. So again, subtle way. Thanks, Forbes, for featuring 5 of my top 20 real estate predictions in this article. Somewhat subtle way of being like, I was featured in Forbes.
And I'm right. What I said is right?
Right.
Like the sorry, I should have raised my hand. We're trying not to do this. I promise not to do it. No, but the 20 predictions, right? Like I said this before. I know what I'm talking about. They picked my, that's what I think is there too. It's like he's showing that he's an expert.
Right. Okay. So who is Leonard's audience? Put it in the chat on who you think Leonard's audience is based on what we just went through. High society, high net worth. What do they care about? Because a lot of people target luxury, right, in Manhattan. What do they care about, though? Luxury is so vague. What question is Leonard answering for them? Lifestyle? Time? That's a good one. La Dolce Vita? What do you think his brand's values are? What do you think he values, and what do you think the values are that he's expressing to his consumers? The good life? What do you think he values? Do you think he values a certain lifestyle? Style, definitely. Okay. Discretion, professionalism, efficiency, being connected and knowing people. I think being connected is definitely one. But again, all these words that we're using are pretty vague. And we could say that about all of you. You guys are all connected. You guys are all professional. Right? What's his style? This is an easy one. His style, over the top, right? Fun, colorful, almost eclectic, but in like a chic way. Exclusivity, I think, is a great word to use because he showcased that in a lot of different ways, right? In the fact that he's only representing really like 10 million plus, in the fact that he's going to these private beach clubs. Taste. So what do we think his essence is? And when it comes to essence, this is one word or 3 to 4 words describing him, just like happiness to Coca-Cola, magic to Disney, safety to Volvo. It's hard. It's hard even with someone like Leonard, whose brand is so clear. So at the end of this 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to create this, we're going to fill these brand keys out for all of you. Okay, so let's get into the first puzzle, audience. If the audience changes, every single thing changes. Everything that you do changes. Your marketing and branding should not be for everyone. I know this is like a hard pill to swallow for most agents, but it really should not be for everyone. Because when your brand tries to be for everyone, you end up with a brand that speaks to no one. No one resonates with that. No one cares. It's not exciting. It's not interesting. One of the first steps in building out your brand is defining and narrowing your target audience, not making it wider. Not everyone. Who do you target? San Francisco? No. You don't target the whole city. No. As a real estate agent, you are competing daily with your peers for a business. You need to reach to a specific group of people who are looking for exactly what you offer. And when you focus in on this group and tailor your marketing strategy to them, that's when you'll see the benefits. You'll find clients who will sing your praises and give you referrals. You'll find loyalty, respect, and you'll see your business grow like never before. Okay, so now it's your turn. So at Upgrade, we have everyone fill out pretty much a long questionnaire for us to fill this out for them. But being that we're doing this all together, I'm going to send you guys a link to a shortened version of this questionnaire that I put together. And I'm not going to read through the answers. It's really going to be for you. And I think it will these questions will prompt you to ask them for yourselves. I just sent it in the chat. So click on that. Everyone click on that before this Zoom ends so you can fill that questionnaire out. You will receive your responses and it will help you put this key together. So step 1, you're going to fill out this questionnaire. And then step 2, come to next week's session with the refined and very specific answer to the question, who is your audience? I don't want to see full cities. I don't want to see anything vague, right? Everyone in San Francisco, or I don't know, everyone who works in tech.
Again, I think it's super important, right? Like, and if you don't know, start trying to think of companies that you respect. You know, a great thing that I did with my team at one point was just said, write down the top 5 companies that you love, right? Like, and then think about
questionnaire.
Yeah. Why do you love them, right? And say like, why is that speaking to me? What do I represent? Again, if we look at Apple, it's like the rebel, right? It's like the cool, right? Apple is cool. It just is, right? PCs have always been renowned to be kind of geeky, right? And Apple came out, and that's why in their ads they always had like Einstein and all these like free thinkers, and it was like, be a rebel. Like, and you're looking at a choice, and your computer costs twice. Apple costs twice as much as any PC. Yet people are stand in line, wait all night to have them. Why? Because they're like, this is me. I feel like I'm a rebel, or I'm cool, you know, and those types of things. And they nail their brand. And again, if you don't know, like, you can also engage your friends and say, like, what do you think my brand is? Like, who's my audience that I resonate well with, right? Like, I know specifically, right? It's who gets along with me, and I know specifically who doesn't. And I really have Sydney work with me on kind of really going after that client. The people that are buttoned up, wear suits, you know, they don't like me because I don't talk like them, and I'm too casual for them. Doesn't mean I don't represent them every once in a while. I do, but I find it, you know, it's not as smooth as my clients that are more.
But you're also very upfront in the beginning. You're like, look, bro, I'm not going to send you market updates every day. That's not what's happening here. If you want that from another agent, go get that. But that's not going to be me.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful because so many agents try to be everything to everyone, and you end up not really helping. You end up not really answering the question that they need answered or doing exactly what they need from you because you're trying to do everything.
Well, I remember too, I had a big business divorce where I had a business partner and we ended up splitting, and I had to recreate a brand. I had to kind of divulge of one thing and really kind of say, like, what is that? And it was amazing. It took a couple years to really do. And yet now it's working. And I don't have to work as hard to attract new clients. And that's all we want to share with you guys. If we nail this with you guys over the next few weeks, and we really strategize with you on building this for you, this is something that you will be able to leverage, especially with Chirag's coaching, that you can just continue to and it works 24/7. That's the amazing thing.
Exactly. So a successful brand like works for you. You don't that's the difference between Zillow chasing leads. Like when you're paying for all these leads, you're going to be constantly paying for them. You're going to be constantly chasing it forever. But if you invest in the beginning up front on building a solid brand that's memorable to a very, very specific niche audience, yeah, it'll be very hard work for the first few years. But it eventually pays off and people just know you. I know, and every single one of your guys' markets, there's an agent or two that everyone just knows. Why do you think that is? You guys are all thinking of that person because they have a very strong brand. So, like I said, first homework for today is to do the questionnaire. It's like 10 questions. It's fine. It'll take you like 10 minutes. And then to take the time to really think about who your audience is and niche down as specific as possible. Think about who your favorite client is. That's your audience, basically, right?
And I also think too, a real good exercise is like Saturday mornings, right? You wake up, or Friday mornings, like not when you're stressed. Do not fill this out when you're stressed out or all this stuff's going on and you're distracted. Like this is something like Saturday morning, it's calm, or Sunday morning, you're sitting down fresh in the morning, you're having a cup of coffee and you're like, okay, what is this? Again, this is going to be tremendously valuable for you.
So we'll go over audience next week. And we'll go through some people's audiences and, see if we can help each other. And then we'll talk about what values are, right? Why understanding your values is important. So we'll go through some people's audiences, then we'll talk about values. The following week, we'll go through some people's values. We'll talk about style. Following week, do the same thing with essence. And then at the end of the 4 or 5 weeks, your guys' brand key should be filled out. And then once that is filled out, you should either work with someone that does your marketing, or if you do your own marketing, you should be thinking, how does my marketing say these things? Is my marketing talking to these people with this style and this tone and this essence? If it's no, then your branding is not cohesive with your marketing. And that's what we do at Upgrade for all of our clients. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Are there any questions before we hop off about brand keys, audience, anything?
And we do a poll at the end, so we have to stay on.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to seeing everyone's questionnaire.
And this is one of those things too that it's a work in progress. Like I don't want you to get frustrated by it. This is really something, again, that it's going to benefit you so much, and you have to work through this. Like this is like working out, getting that summer body in the winter. We're this
exactly.
is it. Summer bodies are not made in the summer.
Brooke. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Kim, I totally understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of agents have this fear, but as a reminder, go back to the chip aisle, right? Doritos or Cheetos, they're targeting little kids. Cheetos target little kids. That's it. All of their commercials. It's like little kids, cartoons. It's a cartoon. But I eat Cheetos. You'd eat a Cheeto if it was out, right? You're not people that you're not specifically targeting won't not work with you, but all the people that you're specifically targeting will. So you end up being a bigger fish in a smaller pond, which I believe is better than being a small fish in a big pond.
I also think you will just be remembered. And again, there's all these different businesses coming from multiple places. You want, like, you in this great vast network that we have at Compass, like you want to be known for something, right? Like it's super important. And again, in whether you're San Francisco or the Peninsula or Seattle, right? You just want to be that agent, like, oh, I know that agent. I've heard of that agent. That agent has stuck in my mind, whether they resonate with you, that they're like, oh, I remember that one agent is that person, right? Like if you're a great listener, I was trying to think of that, like all your pictures, you'd want to have your ear out there, right? Because you're a great listener, and like you'd be doing these like little subtle things, like always with beats or talking about music, like, hey, the word conversation would be in a lot of your posts, those types of things. So we're going to work through all this stuff. And exactly, Bob. I mean, you nailed it on the head.
You nailed it.
I mean, 100%. When you don't resonate with somebody, they don't refer you. They actually go and do the complete opposite. They literally go out of their way to say what a horrible experience they had.
Before that, they make your whole transaction hell.
Yeah, I remember Chris Cortazzo is one of the top agents in Malibu. I mean, he is the top agent, I think, in Malibu. And he said he did this huge deal, like $40 million deal. It was like $1 million plus commission. He goes, the client was so psycho. It seized his back up. He couldn't walk for 4 months. He was like in traction. And it was because he was like harboring so much frustration. And he goes, the guy never referred me. Like, he goes, the money wasn't worth it. And I think that you'll find that. And I really appreciate you sharing that, Bob, because it's so true. Like, when you resonate with somebody, they just beam. And, again, we will get through this, but you have to let go of that fear. And I thought that was a really good thing from the 6 a.m.ers this morning is, the meditation. It was like, let go. Don't worry. This it works. So anyway, thanks so much, guys. We will
See everyone next week.